Hi everyone, today I'm speaking with Anthony, who is the founder of BigBarn. So, Anthony, could you tell us a bit about BigBarn?
Hi, yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Guy, and thank you very much for inviting me on the show. Big Barn we're obsessed with getting people out the supermarket and shopping locally. So the idea of Big Barn is that you go to the site bigbarn.co.uk, type in your postcode in the top left, and it shows you a map of your area. And on the map, there's loads of icons of local producers, retailers, all about local food. And you move your cursor over the icon, and that tells you what they do. And if you click on the icon, it takes you to their web page. And each person has a password to add video, add products, offers, all kinds of things. So the mission basically is to get as many people on the map as possible and as many consumers going to those people as possible and building a local food industry or local food industries all over the country, which will help divert some of the 120 billion spent with supermarkets to local economies with massive social benefits for all. That's what we want to do.
They're sort of like big parasites, basically, the supermarkets, which are just sort of leeching all the produce and all the profits and everything out of communities and suppliers. And
Yeah, it's a worrying time because farmers have. I mean, my family are all farmers. We've been obsessed with just as much production as possible, and the trouble is, it's just put all the power of the product in the hands of the big corporates, and the farmers just grow as much as they can, and very often get nothing for it, and hardly make any money at all. And you get things like, milk is cheaper than water in some shops. That just sums it up. It's just crap. It's just madness. And you can just see Monsanto just rubbing their hands together if everyone goes GM. They'll just control everything.
yeah, yeah, because then they have the patent on the seeds and they
Yeah,
can basically hold farmers over a barrel because a lot
yeah,
of the organic seed companies all go out of business and they're buying up a lot of those as well. And what's the other thing? They've obviously got all the ownership of the chemicals, the pesticides,
yeah,
the Roundup and all that. And they come out with all these sort of crazy claims as well that it it's all about helping to feed the world,
yeah.
which is just gibberish.
It is absolute crap.
I think in the UK we throw away 40% of the food we produce, and the same in the States. That alone's enough to feed the world.
Yeah. Well, and we feed. I think if current trends continue, we'll be feeding enough grain to animals to feed something like 50 billion people.
Which is, again, completely insane.
I mean, there's loads of food in the world if we just got it better organized. Absolute stacks of food.
So I guess that's what your whole project, the Big Barn, is about, is getting that sort of food chain organised a bit better, taking it away from the supermarkets and the Monsantos and all this lot, and putting it back in charge of local farmers, local communities.
Definitely. I mean, it is all about making it local, getting people to understand where their food is coming from, and even getting them involved in the local food industry by growing their own and swapping it for food at local farm shops. It's all very well saying, well, I need my cookbook says I need this, 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 and this, and they go to the farm shop and the farm shop doesn't have it, and they go, oh, come on, mate, what I wanted to do. We've got to change people's whole attitudes of find out what food is available, and just cook with it and have a great meal and cut down on meat because it's expensive and the animals are being very badly looked after. And let's get right back to basics. Not basics where people aren't being fed very well anymore, but actually basics where you're finding out what's growing locally. You're encouraging people to grow more, and you're actually eating really good fresh food.
I think a lot of people are starting to get their head around that now. That if they buy local um, food from local farmers market, things like that, the actual quality of the food's much better. So when you cook with it, it tastes better. It's not been sort of shrink wrapped in plastic or anything like that. You can just get the sort of the real food pretty much fresh from the farm that day.
A friend of mine was telling me the other day that he bought organic onions from the supermarket, and they were in a polystyrene tray with uh, Glad wrap, or sorry, cling film over the top. And he thought, that's just madness. I'm doing good by trying to buy organic, and then I'm getting all this packaging.
Yeah, I was in Tesco's. I think it was last week, and they had bananas in a plastic tray with wrapping on it, and I'm like, they come in their own wrapping. What's all this plastic and polystyrene for? It's just makes no sense.
It's madness, and I don't know where. It's all to do with shelf life, isn't it? And being able to move it around, and the long supply chain needs all this packaging. And that really, food should come straight out the field, be put on a shelf, and people should buy it, take it home, clean it, and cook it if they need to. But there's we worked with a school last year in Leicestershire, and we built them a little allotment outside the classroom, raised beds and things, and they planted all kinds of products. And we went at harvest time and helped them pull the carrots out, and there was a white carrot in amongst all the orange ones. And this, I said to these kids, "Do you like carrots?" And they went, "No, I hate carrots. I don't like carrots." And I said, "Well, have you ever had a raw one?" And they went, "What? No." I said, "Well, there's a white one here. We've got to taste the difference between the white one and the orange one." And they went, "Yeah, okay, we'll do that." And they all absolutely loved them. And to go from hating carrots to knowing about raw carrots and really enjoying them is something that we've got to do with every child in the country, because it'll save the National Health a fortune, and it'll get those kids to understand that they can grow food in a window box or in a little bit of the garden, and they can get so much out of it. So yeah, I think we've gone so far down the supermarket convenient ready meal direction that we can come back the other way now and really discover food and get kids involved and get people celebrating food.
So you mentioned that your family's basically been farmers for generations. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, my great grandfather bought his farm soon after the First World War, and did really well producing vegetables. And at one stage, we were employing something like 200 people, and the whole kind of village was involved with growing veg and harvesting veg. And now on the same farm, we employ one person. And instead of growing every conceivable vegetable you could think of, we just grow wheat and oilseed rape. And that's a real shame.
Yeah, you basically have to go down the monoculture route to get the big bulk produce for supermarkets. And
yeah, I mean, the people who are producing the vegetables are now producing them on a massive scale, and putting them into packaging. The packers and distributors are throwing a hell of a lot away, and it would just be so much better to have just local production everywhere, and all of it being used. I mean, I don't mind going down to a farm shop and they go, "Well, this pack, these are perfect and they're £1 a kilo. These ones that are a bit scrapped, they're 20p a kilo. Well, I'll buy them. I don't care."
yeah, if you're making a pie or something, no one's going to see the spuds that are in it. Or
make it into soup or something. To just throw them into a heap is just madness.
So, I saw on your site some of the other things you put out. You've had some sort of statistics about, for example, the amount that supermarket chains pay for food versus the amount the public pay when they go to the supermarket. And the difference is huge.
Well, we grow onions in Norfolk, and every year we get about £120 a tonne for them, and we sell them straight out the shed in bulk. So they then go to a packer who grades them, throws a lot away, puts them in different sizes, and puts them in packets. And then they go to the supermarket or different supermarkets around the country. And we found our onions on the shelf at Tesco's for the equivalent of 850 quid. So they've gone from 120 to 850 quid, and that really hurt. And the reason I started BigBarn was I thought, look, as farmers, we must be able to find enough local shops and sell at 400 or even 200. We could be getting double. The shop could sell them for 400, they'd be half price. And that's what's exciting about the local food map and the local food business now, is that there's a hell of a lot of farm shops who are looking at what they're selling produce for and making a fair price, a profit, and thinking, wow, I'm cheaper than the supermarket. And we're all about sending all of these places a supermarket price list every month so that they can compare and shout about it.
It would seem counterintuitive to most people because we've been sort of trained by capitalism, if you like, that, pile them high, sell them cheap. But what's actually happening is it's being piled high, sold expensive, and the suppliers are getting rips off. So everyone's losing apart from the supermarkets. The supermarkets are just rolling in the cash at everyone else's expense and then sort of sending it off to whatever tax haven they have in the Bahamas or wherever.
Yeah, I mean, it's just madness the way we go on. But when you say to someone, that supermarket's more expensive than that farm shop, they go, can't be. They go, yeah, they might be on a couple of carrots or an onion, but my total shop, I need all those. I need to go to that supermarket because I need lots of stuff. But when they come out of the supermarket, they look at what they've shopped, and they could probably get something almost the same in the farm shop. And that's when they've got to look at it and go, wow, I could have saved money here. And we've got to try and do at BigBarn is to help the farm shops shout about what they do and change people's perceptions so that they do try out the farm shop and they do look at how much they're spending. And if they can change their habit, to start with, it's all about price and convenience. Well, the farm shop might be cheaper and it might be closer and it might be quicker and it might be more enjoyable. But after you've done that, you can then give yourself a bloody good tap on the back, saying, look what I've put back in my local community. Look what I've done to help get agricultural diversity in my area. Maybe this farm shop will grow really big and employ my kids, and they can do some work experience there.
And it'd be healthier jobs as well. So instead of stacking shelves, any job on a farm, because I do some volunteering on a community farm up near Wigan, and you get healthy quick when you work on a farm. It can be hard work at times, but it's worth it. It's like there's all these people that sort of go in these office jobs, and then they have to sort of drive to some gym to do exercise, which they have to pay for. Whereas they could just do a job that keeps them healthy anyway, and have access to abundant, fresh, nutritious food. It's just like the whole of society's gone down this horribly wrong path. But yeah, I think that's one of the things that shocked me when I was like reading up about BigBarn, is that I never actually even considered myself that you could go to local farmers markets and get better food for less money, whilst at the same time investing more in the local community, paying the farmer more and encouraging the currency, your money, to stay in the locally rather than being siphoned off to some supermarket head office. It's like it takes from a lose-lose situation and puts it into a win-win situation. The only person losing out is the supermarket, and I don't think anyone cares about the supermarket anymore.
There's quite a few people enjoying the bad figures of some of the supermarkets that they're releasing at the moment. And then mind you, they're still making £1 billion a year of profit. But to a supermarket executive, they're supposed to be seeing 10 to 15% growth every year. And sometimes these growth targets mean that they do the most nutty things. I think Tesco's have now said that they were going to open another 100 stores, and they've now decided against it. And quite right, we don't need another 100 Tesco stores. What we need is a lot more local farm shops that get local communities involved. And the perfect farm shop should shout about as much local produce as possible, should welcome people bringing in produce they've grown, which is called crop for the shop. And people can bring their stuff in, put it on a shelf, and they can earn credit notes in the shop for what they've grown.
Oh, this is something else I'd never heard of or even considered before. Of getting, just ordinary people, if they're growing stuff in their own garden or in the kitchen or whatever, allowing them to hook into this as well.
Yeah, well, there's no reason why they shouldn't. And one of the things that we're still looking for is a seed manufacturer to sponsor this, because what we want to do is send packets of seeds to every person on BigBarn who's doing crop shop. And so if a farm shop or a small village shop is involved in crop for the shop, they have an icon on our map with a little rosette on it. And any farm shop with a rosette on it, we want to send them packets of seeds to give to mums with kids. And the owner of the farm shop says, look, here's a packet of seeds. There could be a magic beanstalk in here, but if there isn't, see what comes up, eat it, and if you've got any left over, you can bring it back and sell it. And suddenly you've got stacks of people out there all growing food, and it'd be good to bring back some older varieties of purple carrots and funny shaped squash, and it's coming up in the garden and people are looking at it. And these products probably don't have the shelf life and have been dumped by supermarkets years ago, but taste unbelievably good. And people bringing in French beans into the shop, and they're brilliant for a day, and after that they're not very good. But getting people to come into the shop on a regular basis to buy really fresh food, and that's we should be really getting into our food.
I guess another benefit of people bringing in the food to the shop is any that doesn't get eaten, that does go off, can just be composted and go back to replenishing the soil.
Or someone could put their hand up and say, I like making soup. Can I take that off your hand, and I can bring in soup. So yeah, all kinds of things. And a farm shop, I think, should, every month it should have some kind of weekend of celebration that links in with seasonal foods. So for now, it should be asparagus, and then perhaps salad in a month, or spring lamb, and all kinds of different products that come along. So in the autumn, it's apples, and the farm shop has a mincer and a apple crusher, and people can bring in their apples and buy bottles and take home apple juice, or even make cider. And it's a great way of a farm shop. People come in who then go, oh wow, perhaps I'll come in here regularly. And there's lots of tricks that farm shops can use to win a customer. And Tesco's value a lifetime customer at 50 grand. So farm shops should go, wow, if I can get a customer from Tesco's and I can make him regular with me, supply him with better food at a better price, it's worth a lot.
And I think it's sort of just a sort of a more human experience as well. I think we've become so detached from how food's grown and all the rest of it, that people almost don't appreciate food anymore. It's just become like a tasteless commodity. And then I think by getting back to some roots, it's not like going back into the dark ages. It's just a different approach to consuming food that's, I guess, a lot more sort of environmentally sound and healthier and all the rest. But there's something about, if you know where the food's come from, it almost tastes better because you appreciate it more. It's kind of weird.
Well, I think that goes back to our millions of years of being cavemen, when we were hunter-gatherers, and we got really big satisfaction out of hunting something down. So if we go to our farm shop and find something really tasty and really good, it gives us that same hunter-gatherer satisfaction. That satisfaction from growing something as well is still there. That's also part of us. I wrote a blog a couple of months ago about an allotment where they were asking the police to patrol the allotment because people were nicking stuff out of it. And I said, I wrote a blog and said that this is stupid. Rather than worry about people nicking food out the allotment, why didn't you get the allotmenteers to go down to the local park and plant fruit and veg everywhere?
Yeah, like a sort of an incredible edible thing.
Yeah, and let people nick it.
Yeah, encourage people to nick it.
Yeah, well, invite everyone in the area to get involved and plant the veg, and whatever money you're going to spend on the police, put that into tools and paying someone to organise it. And rather than plant pansies in the park, plant spuds and leeks and stuff that people might enjoy. An incredible edible. There's hardly any crime and damage there at all now in Todmorden because everyone's involved in it and they love it.
Yeah, well, we're actually there's a group of us going on a trip down there. We sort of like organised like a trip throughout the northwest, going from Liverpool, Salford, Wigan, all over the place, descending on Todmorden on the 27th. And when we were talking to them, they were saying that things like vandalism stops because people know that's where the food comes from. They don't get dog poo on the streets anymore because dog owners know that's where they get the food from. So all these problems that normally you'd spend vast amounts of money for, just plant some food and they magically go away. I mean, you still get a little bit, but compared to what it was before, and in Todmorden, it's not a huge place. It's just like a small village town thing. So if you imagine they've had that drastic improvement there, what you could do in a more suburban area. When this thing pans out as well, it just completely changed people's attitude. It's like the more nature there is and the more you relate to it, it changes the community. People start to come back together again over food, and it rebuilds the sort of social cohesion of the region.
Yeah, I think it's an exciting time. I mean, I've been doing BigBarn for 13, 14 years now, and when you look back on it, you think, God, it's taken a long time. But I think momentum is really starting to get going now, and a lot of people are waking up to the fact that we need to get more involved with our food. And this horse meat scandal was an absolute classic. And I know companies that are still finding horse meat in some of the foods that they're buying, and phoned up the FSA and said, look, what are you doing about horse meat? And they went, well, it's not going to kill anyone, so we're not doing very much. And it's gonna the supply chain is so long, and so many people are involved in it, and it's so cutthroat and money focused that it's going to happen all the time. And eventually something really bad is going to happen, and that's really going to wake people up. The horse meat is quite good because it's waking people up without hurting anyone. But we need to learn from it and become cool and say, well, I don't want to buy that ready meal because I haven't got a clue what's in it.
Yeah, it's like things with like chickens and stuff, where they might be sort of like a diseased, cancerous chicken, but it's like, oh no, and in the process it's going to go through will make it fit for human consumption, and it's like, just no one in the right mind would want to eat it. Not even other animals for the most part. So, and yet it's still ending up in supermarkets in one product or another. It might not be sort of like look like a chicken anymore.
Well, I think Jamie Oliver was brilliant with his turkey Twizzlers and showing what went into them and how they were made. Because when you had a turkey Twizzler, you chewed on it and it tasted like chicken, but it wasn't much. It was chicken, but it wasn't chicken as we know it. It was all the bones and connective tissue and all the other crap.
So at least if you sort of like go into a local farmer's market, you know who's produced the food, and you know what's in the food because it's just pretty much natural as it came out of the ground.
But we need to ask questions about our food, support our local farmers, and then make an effort and do a bit of cooking. And people have this real kind of hate for cooking, but it's so easy. And one of the things we've got on BigBarn is our video section now, where you can click in what you've got in your fridge, and it'll come up with a video on what to do with it. and we're very keen on people adding their own videos on what they've done. I mean, video is probably the best way to get people cooking, I think, because you've got things like recipe books, then you've got to have it open, you've got dirty fingers, you've got to read the list, and then you go, oh, I haven't got that. Whereas you've got a video on your iPad or something, watch a bit, stop it, watch a bit, stop it. And you can actually see how big things are and how it's done. And you know, the video is probably 2 minutes long, and you go, God, is that all it's going to take? Yeah, that's how quick it is to cook. Cooking's not that difficult.
Because we all got used to these sort of like peel back and pings, you know, in the microwave and all these ready meals. And it's if you've got the right, you see, with the ingredients you get from a supermarket, because most of them aren't fresh, they don't taste as good. So if you do cook those, the taste of the food might not be that great. But if it's really fresh, the flavour is amplified by orders of magnitude. So it's much easier to cook it. If you've got decent ingredients to start with, you don't need to do as much with them to make it taste nice. So it's great that you're sort of like going through the. I guess you're showing people how to eat seasonally. So rather than having stuff shipped in from foreign countries, eat what's growing locally at that time of year, and then how to then cook that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've got asparagus coming in season now, which is just the most amazing food and incredibly good for you. And ideally, it should be eaten within 2 hours of picking. Well, you can't do that in a supermarket because it's been travelling, but you can from a local farmer. You find your local farmer who does asparagus, or a farm shop where you know when it's coming in, and you pick it up from the farm shop on your way home, and you've got the freshest, best meal ever, and probably cheaper than the supermarket as well. You know, it's you know, then you move on to sweet corn and all kinds of great products. And one of the reasons supermarkets are expensive is that they have this availability target of they want 97% of all their products in all the shop to be available at all times. And I think that's just mad. You know, why don't farm shops just say, well, look, we've got as much fresh produce as we can, but when it runs out because we don't want to have stuff going off. But you know, and in the scenario of a farm shop, people almost go, well, I better make sure I get there earlier because it's special stuff. It's really fresh. That was all that was available on the farm today.
Do you think that people have to sort of, you know, change the habits? Because a lot of the time, most people I know are in this habit of they get up early and go straight to work all day, come home and just mong out in front of the television, and then on a Saturday or a Sunday they do a big shop for the following week, which is kind of like a disaster on many levels. So there needs to be ways of encouraging people to say, well, actually, rather than trying to do one big shop a week, how do we get people to sort of adjust to the habit of, you know, doing a number of smaller shops, but then that'll give them fresher food?
Well, I think part of it is just thinking, and you know, you get people who buy 4 or 5 McCain's ready-made baked potatoes, which is just because they haven't thought about anything there. I mean, all they thought about is I want some quick food, and all they've got to do is, instead of buying a McCain's one for 70p each, just buy some potatoes and whack them in the oven 20 minutes before you want them, half an hour before you want them, and they'll be ready, and you'll save yourself a lot of money. But that's just a tiny bit of thought, and you know, I think if people just think about what they're going to eat, and maybe flick through a few recipes or do a bit of research on a computer as to nice things to do with local food, they'll get that much sort of satisfaction out of it. Another thing that's going to help is the advent of a lot more online food retailing from local people. In that you'll be able to sit in your office, and there might be a local farm shop or food delivery that delivers to your office, so you can join the office food delivery.
Yeah. So whereas offices now have like a snack box or something like that, or a sweet man comes round with all sorts of confectionaries. You'd have people delivering fruit and veg and
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're starting a scheme in Bristol and Bath where there's a couple of companies that we've gone to, and they're going to be promoting it to their staff. So you can uh, order online, and all the boxes are delivered to the office an hour before everyone leaves. You pick up your box and go home, and you've got, I mean, a big range of lovely food, lovely local food that's cheaper than the supermarket. If that works in Bristol and Bath, we want to spread it around the country, and that will be a great way of helping people change their shopping habits. So you've got to kind of meet me halfway, mate. Um, I can't change from the supermarket on a Saturday to coming to the farm shop on a Saturday or the farmer's market because I can't get there. Okay, well, we'll deliver it to you then. Here it is. Here's pictures. Here's videos.
Yeah, I know there's a farm in the US called Growing Power, and they've started doing sort of like uh, fruit boxes and veg boxes and things like that. Basically, crates of food that they can deliver and it's all got locally grown seasonal produce in it. And one of the things they do, along with the delivery of those boxes, is they include things like recipes, so that it's not just that you get this great fresh food delivered, but now you know what sort of things you can make with it. Because a lot of people, again, society's trained us not to know how to cook. We just get this thing in a plastic box and microwave it or throw it in the oven, and that's most people's idea of cooking. So we've got to almost like retrain people how to cook their own food again. In many cases, a lot of older generation people know how to cook, but there's so many people that have just survived off nothing but ready-made meals for decades.
Well, I think there's flats in London now that they don't have a proper kitchen. All they have is a microwave in the corner and a little table. So then, it's bloody difficult to cook where even if you want to. But again, this is the great thing about video, and you can go to YouTube now and you can type in just about anything you want, and there'll be a recipe there. And one of the things that we've done with our KISS cookery section, KISS meaning keep it simple, is we want, if you get a box delivered and you make something interesting with that box, if we want people to video themselves doing it and then add it to the KISS cookery, and perhaps if we know who it is, we can then give them a couple of quid off on the next order. So suddenly everyone's helping build this database and helping make it easier for everyone else. And that's what the internet and the new way of living is all about.
So yeah, it's like at every level, changing the way things work just to make it work better.
Yeah, I think I think we're getting there, but it all takes longer than you think. And but I think the tide is turning, which is I think it's very exciting. I mean, we started in the dot-com boom of 2000, and you had all these websites that were being listed on the stock exchange for billions and billions, and went bust 10 minutes later. And they said every person you've got registered is worth £200. Well, yeah, it is if you can get them to spend £200, but everything moves so fast, and people move from one thing to another. But with food, they want stability, and they want to know things are safe.
It's like you get your trusted suppliers, and you can count on them.
I mean, in the past, it's been, well, I know if I go to McDonald's, I'm going to get this. Yeah, well, yeah, you can get that, but go to your local farm shop, meet the farmer, buy some beef, and make a beef burger, and it takes 3 minutes, and you can make a much nicer one and get some much nicer bread, and end up with a better product. It's looking good. It's looking good, and but it's something that we can all get involved in, which I think is great. And we should all have community growing schemes like the one you're involved in, and emails going from the community growing scheme. Thinking about going on your rowing machine today? Come digging.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's so many better ways to do things. It's like with the community growing scheme as well. You're sort of like you're not paying for your exercise, and not only are you getting probably more useful exercise, but you also get food back in return. It's like, why would anyone go to the gym? It seems to make no sense.
I mean, if you went to the gym and when you're on a bicycle or rowing machine, you produced electricity, and then maybe that might be worth it. But as you say, just all you're doing is producing heat and getting in sweat. Much better to go out and do something more constructive. And I mean, the community growing scheme, you're meeting people as well and having a chat, and it's quite a social thing.
Yeah, you start to build up almost like a sharing community as well, because the people you meet, while you're digging or whatever, or picking crops or whatever it may be, you're sort of chatting to the people around, you're getting to know them, you're getting to know, what do they do for a living, and, oh, they've got this tool, oh, you've got a spare drill, I can borrow that at the weekend. So you start to get all those things going on as well. And again, it rebuilds the community, it reduces consumption and waste. Just huge benefits come from it. It's basically the exact opposite of what the system wants us to do.
We've got to try and get a lot more of those, and I'm almost a bit of a hypocrite in that I live in a village and I don't do much community-wise with the village, but I've just spotted a bit of land that someone's cleared from brambles, and I can see it's going to end up back as brambles. And there's a local wind farm that's put in a certain amount of money every year for community projects. So I'm going to go, right, I'm going to get some of that money and I'm going to buy some fruit trees and we're going to have a community orchard, and then we'll perhaps have some community raised beds as well, and let's get involved in it. And yeah, and that'd be fantastic. You need, I suppose, someone to get it going, and then doing a leaflet drop around the village and then going, no, we're all in this together. It's our thing. And it then builds almost into an incredible edible. And that's got to be the ultimate goal.
I mean, this is one of the things that I know a lot of the groups I'm working with up here in the Northwest are like, if we do something like Incredible Edible, isn't that going to harm local farmers? If everyone's getting the food for free from the streets, what's going to happen to the local farms? But you've got a really novel way of dealing with that, in that it's like, well, first of all, it stops people stealing the food from allotments, you're getting less vandalism and all the rest of it, but any excess food, I guess, can just be taken to the farm shop. The sort of like to be sold on to people who haven't got time to go around the streets looking for it.
Yeah, and the farm shop's going to make a margin on it. It's going to have a wider range of product, and you're going to get loads more people eating veg. I mean, I had a farmer who said to me, "Oh, you mustn't do this in that village. That we've got a veg shop in the village, and no one's going to go there." I can say, "Well, you'll probably find that he can sell any excess through his shop, but you'll find that there'll be twice as many people eating vegetables, and will be going there because he's part of the scheme." And what we desperately need to do is get people stopping going to the supermarket and changing those people's habits. And if you could change half the village from that to buying from the local shop, it'd be incredibly powerful.
It's kind of weird because, so in a sense, doing something like an Incredible Edible, you grow free food and actually make more profit for local farms and shops. Which is the exact opposite of what anyone would think.
And I was talking to the team up at Incredible Edible in Todmorden, and they were saying that the restaurants now are trying to get as much as they can from Incredible Edible, and when they put that the salad and the carrots have come from Incredible Edible, people are really happy about it, and their perception of the restaurant has gone up. So they're happy to pay, a slightly higher price for it.
And I know you've got people going into shops and checking, is this grown locally? Because everyone's about the local food now. It's got to the point where people have taken pride in it. It's like their baby, and it's grown up and flourished, and they're sort of really proud of it. So if we sort of spread that over the UK, I think things will get quite a lot better. So what plans have you got for the future? What's next?
Well, one of the things that we're very keen on is BigBarn is all about local, but we're a national business. So what we want to try and do is team up with any local organisation, whether it's Transition Towns or Incredible Edible, and give them a version of BigBarn that they can add to in their area, and then they can promote it to local people. But those new listings will also be on BigBarn.
So there'd be like little mini white label sites that'll be customised for the local community, but at the same time the data's fed into the central site so that you've got a national coverage with it.
Yeah, because my kind of strategy is to have this local food database that anyone who's on it can update it with the password. Then they're all on the BigBarn map, and then we get that data on as many other websites as possible. So it's on BigBarn, it's on Friends of the Earth, all these other mini websites, so that it's all constantly building. And what has always been a bit of a barrier in the past is that some people have said, "Oh, well, I'm on BigBarn and I'm on such and such and I'm on such and such," and they don't update anything. They don't tell people when they got an offer, or they don't put photos up or anything. Whereas what we want to say is, look, when you're on BigBarn, you're on everything. So if you put up an offer, you can put in a photo, and just keep it, update it perhaps once a month, or as much as you do your Facebook page or something, and we'll get it out there. We'll get it on lots of sites.
Do you have any sort of mobile apps planned or anything like that? Because I know there's like a new generation of farmers coming up that are sort of like into effectively farm hacking, I think it's called.
BigBarn does work on a mobile, which we've just managed to fix. Although there's a couple of things that still need doing. But yeah, a good app that we're thinking about, and I think we can do this already, is that if someone puts up an offer, like we picked him in asparagus today, you can have it switched on your phone that if you're going past that person, it beeps at you.
Yeah, so it sort of sends out a ping and anyone in the local area gets notified if they're interested in it. So if people want to help or get involved, because it's basically anyone from farmers to local people producing food to consumers, everyone but the supermarkets can probably get involved in some way, shape or form.
Yeah, well, there's on the top right of the BigBarn page, it says sign up, and you can sign up as a consumer and get our newsletter, which every month will inform you of local special offers, because we have our newsletter is postcode specific. So when you register, you leave your email and your postcode, so that if anyone's got an offer in your area, it'll be on your newsletter.
I'm guessing it's if people just want to go to the site and look at where the local food producers are, or farm shops or whatever, they don't have to sign up for that. They can just go onto the big map.
That's all free. Yeah, you just type in your postcode, a map comes up, and you move the cursor over each icon, and then you can click on each icon to see the individual's web page. And if there's a red icon, it means you can click and you can buy online. And I think there's something like 520 people who are on BigBarn who are in our marketplace now, so you can buy and get a delivery. And at Christmas time, we do a free-range turkey promotion, so you can find your local turkey producer, see what kind of turkeys he does, order your turkey online, and then go and collect it from him. And that's a great way of hunter-gatherer your turkey. Also meet the farmer, and hopefully it'll be a farm shop that you'll then go back to regularly.
Brilliant. And for producers of food?
We want as many on the site as possible, and we want to help them find as many customers as possible. And in a lot of cases, like we're doing in Bristol and Bath, the farmers deliver to a central point, and then we deliver out to the consumers. And that's what we want to do all over the country eventually.
So in terms of like if someone's got, like we've got up in near Wigan, the Green Slate Farm, the community farm, if we wanted to sort of hook into this, have you got sort of like an open source sort of blueprint saying, okay, here's the things you should consider doing, and here's how you sort of hook in, and if you want to get interested in this activity, implement these types of things, that kind of stuff?
We have a set template of where people put in their details, and there's a place where they can put a video, an offer, and it's just basically an admin system that they have a username and password to get into, and it develops their web presence on BigBarn. But yeah, that's very easy, and they can invite people to join the scheme. They can put up vegetables to sell online or veg boxes. So yeah, I mean, we want anything to do with local food. We want on BigBarn.
And in terms of people that are distributing the food, I know there's like a lot of, especially some of the sort of smaller communities, lots of existing sort of veg box delivery schemes. Is there any way to sort of interface with them to sort of help them build their delivery network, or?
Well, probably just by giving them a call and seeing if you can help or supply them. I mean, we want as many people on BigBarn as possible to have this little rosette to mean that they're happy to get involved. I mean, we've got some pubs on BigBarn where you can who have opted in to crop for the shop, and you can take your veg there, and if they like it, they'll give you a couple of beers. They'll use the veg. They'll use the veg in their menu. It's good for them because they can put up on the menu, veg comes from such and such down the road.
And I guess that could be extended to restaurants, cafes, any organisation that uses food in some way could say, we'll give you some sort of kickback or discount if you bring in fresh fruit and veg and stuff.
Yeah, we had a lady who makes jam, and she's joined the scheme, and in her description she's put, if you've got any jam that you want me to, if you've got any fruit that you want me to make into jam, give me a ring. And people can then supply her with some unusual strawberries or something, and she'll make some jam for them. Yeah, I mean, it makes just so much sense, doesn't it? And we've just got to start thinking about it and using it, and all getting behind it and building it. Which is why we converted from a limited company to a community interest company. So when we converted, we had to write out a community interest statement, which is what BigBarn's about and what we plan to do in the future. We're in the business of helping the community of producers sell their product and helping community of consumers get better food and get involved in the food industry. And everything we do and every money we make, we have to do that. And so we can't be sold to Tesco's or spend money on flying to Barbados on a holiday. We're all about food, and we want consumers to see what we've committed to, and join us, and everyone's a winner.
So you have a website which is bigbarn.com?
Nah, bigbarn.co.uk and all the others except for .com. .com is owned by an American fella, and when I first started, I offered him 300 quid and a jar of English marmalade for his .com, but he wouldn't sell it to me, and he still won't. I think last it got up to about £1,000. So it's bigbarn.co.uk, .net, .org.uk, but mainly .co.uk.
Do you have a Facebook group or Twitter?
We've got Find Local Food at Twitter, and we have got Facebook, but I don't do nearly enough, and I should do a lot more on it. Finding time.
Always the problem. Wow. Okay, that's brilliant. I'm amazed. It's even more amazing than I was expecting, the stuff that you're doing. So I'll definitely be looking to sort of get some of the local growers on board with that.
Well, we'll have to set you up with a version of BigBarn if you want one. I mean, we're doing one for Woking Borough Council at the moment, which will be their own version. So once I've got that, I can use it as a template for any other group that wants to build a local food map in their area. It's basically your version of BigBarn that you can have within a WordPress site, but everything of BigBarn will be there, but it'll be branded for you. So yeah, if anyone wants to do that, just give me a ring.
So I guess people could sort of like, if they've got their own branded version of the site, they could upload their own blogs and photos and stuff like that to it. All the local stuff, local events, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only way BigBarn is going to be really local is by teaming up with local people. And we provide and the technology and constantly make it better and better and add lots of little bits. And people say, "Oh, why don't you do this? Good idea. Yeah, we'll do that." And someone comes up with an idea and we put it everywhere. And it's a kind of open source, constantly building organization, I hope. Or I'd like it to go anywhere.
If there's someone that's sort of looking at the local food producers or restaurants or whatever and thinking, I wish they were on BigBarn, what should they do?
Just send us an email, info@BigBarn, and we'll contact them and try and get them involved.
All right. Well, we'll also perhaps have another chat in the future. Let us know how you're getting on with like the template site and things like that. But I'm really impressed. It's been really good chat.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Guy.
Okay, see ya.
All the best. Bye.